And this will show you with your eyes what resample is. And then if we come to the other example of my wife saying hi, and then if we come to the other example,
Action Dan, the greatest hero of them all.
Alright, hi there guys, and welcome back to my next video. Now in this video, I'm going to give you the top 10 tips on the things everyone should learn as soon as they start their video editing, especially in Vegas Pro. Once you learn these top 10 tips, you put them up on the wall, memorize everything, then you can start polishing everything else. These are the most important things. Let's get straight into it. Okay, hi there guys, and welcome to my video on the extreme basics you need to know when using Vegas Pro. Top 10 tips, let's get into it. So first extremely important video editing tip is use a video editing program your computer can handle. Now, I'll put a link up in this top corner here. In my previous video, I went into vast detail about what sort of laptop or computer you have and how you match that with the right type of program. I won't go into that now. I'll just say in super short in this one, if you have a laptop, it's probably going to be capable of less than your desktop computer that's big and bulky and can fit more, of course. And try and match up the video editing program year of release with your device to match your device so that it doesn't struggle. And of course, desktop computers are always way better than laptops. I started off on laptops. I used to love laptops. Now with a desktop computer, it's not as comfy as lying around in bed or in a sofa to do my editing, but it is much easier and much quicker. And I won't show you at the moment, but I actually have two monitors. We'll go into that later. It helps save a lot of time and makes things so much easier. Step 1, make sure you've got a version of Vegas Pro that your device can handle. Step 2 is the first real thing we're going to get into, and that is opening up your Vegas Pro editing program. Before you start, you have to make sure that you match your recording's quality and settings. Okay, so we go File, New, and now it's got a bunch of details. Alright, so first one is width and height. Now, I don't know if you already find this common sense, but the most common resolution we'll have of today is this one. This is not 4K, this is the standard HD, which is 1080p by 1920. So there'll be 1920 pixels going from left to right and 1080 going from top to bottom. The bigger the number, the more dots, the better quality your picture looks. We'll go to frame rate. Now, if you're in half the world, your frame rate will be different than the other half of the world. So in my country, Australia, our default frame rate is 29.97 and the American one is 24. In half the world, your default frame rate on your video file is going to be 30 frames per second. And you can record in 60 frames per second so that you can halve it and do slow motion. Now my camera here from all my outdoor adventures is probably filming in 60 frames per second, but here inside my house, not moving, sitting at a computer monitor, you definitely do not need a very high frame rate. So I'll just be lazy and I'll leave it in 60, but it would have been good enough in 30. In this project I'm doing, I'm only going to need 30 because I'm not going to do any slow motion. And even if I did do slow motion, I would get the original 60 frames per second file and I would play it at half speed in 30 frames per second. So I'm going to pick 30. If you don't know what you've got, let's go find out how you can find out what you've got. Just pretend this is your latest video file you want to start editing and you don't know what the frame rate is. You right click on it, go to properties, go to details, and it will tell you. So here's my frame width and height, 1920, 1080, that's fine, I did that already. And the frame rate is 60 frames per second. So if yours says 24 or 48, 50, 25, whatever, match it. Make sure that your video editing project frame rate matches your recordings. Full resolution rendering quality. Now you probably already know, but if you don't know, rendering is the computer rendering, like, you know, making your video file, putting it together, rendering. The default setting is good. Now, if you have a terrible old device, it won't be able to handle doing much. So you'll have to put it on a terrible setting like preview or draft. So if you're in a super hurry, you do that. Or if your computer is terrible, you do that. But if you have a computer that's good enough, anywhere near good enough to make your project, you can just keep it on best. So I'm going to do that. We'll leave it on best. Motion blur type, don't even know, honestly, don't know. They're minor. Next one, resample mode. This one is incredibly important. I wasted the first 6 months of my video editing hobby with this terrible problem and I didn't know how to fix it. And then when I found out how simple the answer was, I was very pissed off. I might go to showing you a bit of video in the background here, and this will show you with your eyes what resample is. So if you look at this video here, this is of one of my favorite videos I ever made, which was going kayaking on the ocean. So click on this link here in the top right hand corner if you want to have a look at my video, please, and give me a like. Okay, so if you watch this piece of my video here, this is what it originally looked like when I rendered, when I made my video. See how it's all blurry? And if I pause it, and if I go back and forth a couple of frames at a time, you can see two different examples. One is the bird. The bird is flying away. The bird has 4 wings and there's 2 poles. It's all messed up and blurry. Like everything's been double layered. And then if we come to the other example of my wife saying hi, and she waves her arms, you can see her arms are everywhere. She's got like 8 octopus arms. That's multiple frames blurring together. Now that is their default setting on this video editing program. Resample mode says smart resample. I don't know why the hell they did that. If anybody out there knows a way that that ever benefits you, could you please post a comment and tell me, why does anyone ever want to do that? All right, so you click on this and you go disable resample. This is extremely important to make your videos look better. Disable resample. Okay, next. All right, so this one here, adjust source media to match your project settings. If you've got no clue on how to do anything, you can do that. But if you're watching this, you've got a rough idea, so we don't need to do that. Audio. Audio, this is a number. The bigger the number, the higher the quality of your audio. The default recommendation is 48,000, and I honestly don't know enough about the video files to mess around with that. But if you have a super high quality device, it may have automatically suggested a higher number. I'm just gonna leave it. Now this one I do know, resample and stretch quality. This is the same as the video quality, but it's audio. So same thing. Unless you have a computer or a laptop that is terrible, you should be able to put this on best, get the best quality, and your computer shouldn't struggle. Next, recorded files folder. This is things like my microphone voiceover I'm doing right now. On this screen here, you can't see it, but I have one of these Vegas Pro programs on my secondary monitor, and it's recording in the background so that I can later on edit my voiceover. And this is the default folder on where I want to save what I'm making in Vegas Pro, such as photographs of pictures taken and my microphone recordings that I do in Vegas Pro. It's where do you want to put it? Is it important? No, you don't need to remember that. Let's move on. This, yeah, nothing important, nothing important, nothing important. We'll come back to video, double check, disable resample, best quality, frame rate, we talked about that. And now you will say start all new projects with these settings. If you've only got one device and you don't have different devices with different setups, make sure you click on that to always start each of your new projects with these settings so that you don't have to keep remembering everything and you don't have to select them next time. Now you're going to give it a name. I'll say best 1080p, 30 frames per second, setup. Yeah, I think you love my keyboard skills. It's a bit dark in here. Don't laugh at me. Okay, best 1080p, 30 frames per second setup. And I will click on here, save template. So now next time you'll come in, you'll have all of these, and down the bottom, it's got the one I made. All right, what's next? Okay, so the next one is adding your bits and pieces. The most common one I see people showing you is coming over to here, explore, what was it, desktop, action down videos, and this is what I was looking at earlier, 2021 shortcut. This one isn't my favorite because in its default setting, you can't even find what file you want. So maybe you've plugged in your device or you've stored it somewhere, and if you're an amateur, you're not going to understand how to click around your computer. You're not going to do a very good job at finding your files. You're going to be confused if you're a beginner. So I have found the folder, and I can right click and I can go view thumbnails. So now I can see more clearly what piece is what, and if I want to find a particular video, this will be much easier. And here's a video at the end on the nice green grass at the top of the hill at the end of the weekend. You click on them one at a time and drag it down. What's probably better is you could highlight them. So hold Control on your keyboard, and while holding Control, I'll go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now I'll let go of Control, and I'm going to drag them over to here. So grab them, click, drag, and it's going to add them all at once. I hope. Okay, it has. And now you see down here, it's loading them. So that's one way you can add stuff. I reckon that's one of the very most common ways I see of people showing on Vegas Pro tutorials how to add their stuff, because it means you don't have to change your screen. You stay here on the one spot and you do everything without moving. But I will admit that me not being that much of a professional and you probably being a beginner if you're still watching this video, you don't want to do that. Okay, so now we'll do it again the other way that I think is easier for a beginner is we will drop our screen and we will find our folder. Okay, so we'll pretend I haven't added anything. So now I'm going to click and drag all of them and I'll hold control and I'll unselect these two. Then get my video editing project up here, downsize the screen. It is a bit of a mess around, I'm realizing now. I've done this for the last 10 years. But you only have to do it once, so it's not a big thing. Right, so now I'm going to click and drag all these, 38 files over here at once. I'm going to leave a gap at the beginning in case I want to place something in the beginning. Don't put it right at the start like that. Leave a gap of like a minute. Let go. And now, one by one, it's going to drop them all in there. Okay, so you can see they're all done now. So I think that's it. That's how to add all your bits and pieces. Don't do more than one video layer in the beginning if you're just starting. And don't really even do more than one audio layer. If you want to push it and try and do something really good from the beginning, I'll say right click here and click on insert audio. And you can use this as V1. We'll say your original videos. This is A1, we'll call it, audio 1. And we'll call this A2. And here you could just grab something like some background music. This video here is a country car drive. I guess you want peaceful music, so motivational, relaxed. Grab something random, drag it down where I'm at. And now we'll have a quick look.
I'm amazed, bro. Those fellas go. They look smaller from here, but when they got their wings out, it's really
Okay, sorry, I'll pause it. The car's not moving. It's just sitting still looking at birds eating a dead animal. I guess you don't really want to listen to relaxed music while a bird's eating dead animals. All right, where's a video of us driving? Here we go. All right, so here's a country drive scene. Grab my music, line it up. Press play.
Can do, yeah, if you want.
Okay, so that's nice, but it's too loud. We'll go into that some other time. I'm not going to show you how to play around with the audio and change levels. But I will say, if you look over here, do you remember how I told you earlier I was only going to select 30 frames per second for my project, but I'm looking here, now it says preview 60. That's because I said match my files that I'm adding. I don't want to match that, so I'll go back to what I had. Where is the save? Best 30 frames, apply, okay. So there we go, now it's gone back to 30. All right, what's next? Okay, step 4 now is super easy, and that's just remember where you put everything. It might not sound like much, it might sound pretty dumb, but one of the biggest problems I remember for the first couple of years when doing my projects is I would just be pulling out my hair going crazy, not being able to remember where all my bits and pieces are. So it's a good idea to make yourself a nice, neat and tidy setup. So I'll just pretend I haven't done anything and we'll start from scratch. So right click, new folder, and you'll name that my video editing projects. Put that somewhere where I remember. Now go inside, I'll make that folder, and then I will find all my bits and pieces and I'll click and drag them and put them in this folder. And then next time, when I'm editing stuff and I want to find stuff, I know where it is easy. It's on my desktop. I go my video projects and I go to my four-wheel drive trip, and there will be other folders in here of my different stuff. If you've selected a desktop computer, consider getting yourself a second monitor. I won't go into the details about why. I'll just say it saves a mountain of time and it will make things so much easier for you. Just trust me on that one. And this is how I've laid out my folder. These are shortcuts to old projects that I haven't done yet or I've finished. They've been placed on an old hard drive that's cheap. And the current project I'm working on that I want performance and speed is on my new SSD memory card. And that's what these are. These are put on the current stuff. So my current files is background music, sound effects, noises, things I've made, scene change, short videos. So if I click on this one, where's my Action Dan intro? Action Dan intro video. So these are all short videos for stuff I've made in the past. Like this one here is a Batman scene change. If I'm out kayaking or something and I don't have any video files from near the end of the day till dark time, I'll use a scene change. It will be people kayaking, and then your Batman scene change. And then it will go on to the next scene. They're around the campfire at nighttime. It's a really good idea to take your time, think hard on how to structure everything so that next time you want to add stuff, you can find it instantly and not get lost. If you don't do this and you think it's not worth the time and effort, what's going to happen is you're going to be here and you're going to say, oh, I deleted this background music by accident. Where is it? And you'll go here on Explorer, or you'll drop it and you'll go to your desktop looking for it and you won't be able to find it and you'll waste so much time. So that's it for that one. And that's just remember where you put everything and take your time and effort organizing nice, neat and tidy folders. One more important thing with that one about organizing your files is, see, this is stuff I've got now and we'll find one. See this one here, 245. Now I'm going to come down, close that down. I'm going to find that file and I'm going to make the common mistake. Where is it? 245. And I'm going to remove it from this folder and I'm going to paste it on desktop. It's loading. It's a big file. And now when I re-enter my Vegas Pro editing program, it's confused and it's saying to me, something's missing. Where is it? And it says, do you want us to search for it automatically? Do you want to tell us where it is? Or do you just want to ignore it and keep doing your project without the missing file? Okay, so I'm going to put that back where it came from and you get the drift. Don't move your stuff around. Okay, next one is a major common one, and that is moving stuff around, dragging, cut and paste. So here's your settings down here. Watch this video and I would decide I want to do stuff. So let's watch it.
Alrighty, so these two kids had so much fun last.
Alright, so at the start, he's got his hand in the way of the camera. We don't want that. We want to trim off the part where he's getting the camera ready. So I'll zoom in a bit so I can see where he starts talking. There it is. So I'll come back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll come back about a quarter of a second before he starts talking. And I've put my marker there. That's where he starts talking, I can see. And then you will go right click and you can trim start, cut off the start, trim end, cut off the end, or you can split it in half. I've gone split and it's only done one. If I go here and go split, it will split the top one. So now I'll undo that. If I highlight both of them, hold control. Now I'll right click and go trim start. It does both of them at once. Same thing, highlights both or one, and then right click and go trim end. It will cut off the end. Come back. What else? I'll trim the start. And what do I want to do next? This means do stuff to individual bits and pieces what you're on. If you take that off and use this one, it will cut the entire file in half at once. See, now it's done video and audio at the same time instead of individually. So you click where you want to work and then go right click split. And I'll just say I want to get a bit of video of me driving.
Alrighty, so these two kids had so much fun last week.
These guys had so much fun. Now I will click on this one here, which means work on individual pieces, and I'll leave the audio. I'm going to cut off the split the video. And for half of it, this part here, I'm going to go to a scene of us cruising along the highway, and then I'm going to return to myself talking. Now, I'm not trying to make it perfect, I'm just giving you examples. Alright, so copy, paste. Okay, so now I have me chatting in the car, trees going past, and then me finishing the chat. So let's watch it.
Alrighty, so these two kids had so much fun last weekend, now they're taking us out to play with their toy, which...
So you get the idea? While I'm talking, because it's a bit boring watching me talking, I'm going to make it a bit shorter. Make this longer. Make it more even timed. Now I'll click on this one to interact with all my pieces, and I'm going to remove the individual piece thing. Drag it away. And I'll show you that. See here, this is work on everything. If I zoom out and I click and drag this, it moves everything. But if I click on this one, it's going to move individual pieces. And it's just moving this one piece. It's removing the one video piece without even its original audio. I'll go undo. That's another thing you do. If you make a mistake, like you drag that off by accident and you're like, oh no, my video is not aligned with my audio. Don't try and zoom in like this and line it up perfectly. That's a waste of time. If you make a mistake and you put something in the wrong place, just go undo, back, and it puts it back where it came from. Well, one more, there we go. Now it's back where it started. And you saw the color change. That's one way you can tell if your audio is lined up. Say you trim the start of that video and you trimmed the end of this audio, and you had a different video scene here, you might get confused because you move this and you don't remember where did this piece of audio originally line up with this video. Now, in the old versions, they didn't have this plus minus thing, and that's telling me how to put it back. If I click on it and drag it further away from its original spot, it's telling me you've gone 1 second, 0.02 away from what you've created from the other piece. Now you've gone 2 seconds away. Now you're coming back. So you can line it up like that. So its original position was there. Now, if I click here, it's going to pick up everything from these two files and behind it and move that at the same time. And then this one. You see what I mean? And then if I click here, even though there's gaps made, it will still do the same thing. It will move everything up to and behind what you've selected, but it won't move what's in front. Now that I'm doing that, it's not moving my audio 2 layer, which is the background music. If I want to move everything at the same time, I'm going to come down to this and click on the arrow, and I'm going to say, not just move the affected tracks, but what I think is a better default setting if you're new, is click on all tracks, everything. So now when I click on this here, these two and everything behind it in multiple layers, it's going to take everything. If I click on this, it will take everything after it. But if I go back to the default setting, it's only going to move what's in one bracket, matching bracket at a time. So I recommend the best setting is go all tracks, and it will move everything after where you're positioned. Oh, sorry, one thing I forgot to mention is cut and paste. So say I want to pick up this from here and put it there, but they're greatly separated. So I'll go here. So I will click on this with left mouse, zoom in, so it's a bit easier to see what I'm working with. I will just make sure both are highlighted in case I've got some weird setting. I'll right click and I'll either go copy or cut, and it's automatically dragged the files behind it inwards. If you don't want to do that and you want a gap to be there, you take off, move everything, and you just go to individual pieces here. So now when I cut this one, it's going to leave a gap. I'll zoom out. All right, now I'll go back to where I was up to with my editing. We'll say this is the gap, zoom in, and I will go right click where I want it, and I'll go paste. And it put it here. So this is what I just pasted. And you can see it's gone over the top of the gap I had. It's gone over the top of the next file. So I'll go undo. Now what I should have done is I'll remove individual stuff and go everything. So now when I right click here and go paste, it's going to put it in the gap. And the size of this gap will remain the same. So I'll go right click, paste. So now it popped it in and it left the same size original gap. Anyways, that's it. We'll move on to the next one.
Action Dan, the greatest hero of them all.
Hi there guys, and welcome back to my video. Top 10 tips of what's most important video editing for dummies. This is the second half. We're going to resume with the top 10 things you should learn as soon as you start video editing as a new hobby, especially using something like what I have in the background, Vegas Pro. Let's get straight back into it.
Number 6.
Controlling all your uneven volume levels. Okay, so we're just going to click and highlight a random play area on our project and have a quick listen. And you can see over here, it's if we zoom out, it's a lot louder here than it is there, and then it's louder again. Let's zoom in on this one and see if we can tell the difference between maybe these two volume levels is a bit more obvious. Let's go. These giant birds. These giant birds. So this one's a loud car. And then we've got the more quiet birds. So I'll make this big so you can see the volume level difference. So the first one's hovering around here, about -6 decibels. The second one is hovering around here, about -20 decibels. So now I'll show you how you control the volumes and make them a bit more even. Okay, so now we'll click on effects for each individual piece. You can control volume levels over here by clicking on this and controlling volume level for the entire bar. But I'd recommend, because each video piece, as you can see, is different, we'll do them individually one by one. So I'm going to play with this one and click on effects, and then clear as crystal, you can see here you can add volume, and I'll add this one, Express Effects Graphic Equalizer. Click and add that, and then we go OK. So here's the basic volume, plus 6 decibels or minus everything down to making it nothing. So I'll play it while I'm talking. So we'll fiddle with the volume here.
Just doing a U-turn, I'm gonna find
Be quiet, off, and loud. I recommend not to bother with this one because it doesn't have much range. Here you can only bring it up to plus 6 decibels. So we'll get rid of this one and click on here to delete the setting. And we'll just play with this one. This one you can go up plus a lot more than 6. See, you can bring this one all the way up to 20, which you sometimes need to do. But just like the other one, it goes all the way down negative volume until nothing, until it's cut out. I want nothing to go past 6 decibels. So I'm going to loop a playback region here where it's loud. So now it's just going to play that. Go play.
Eating a dead sheep.
Bit loud, so I'll bring it down. It's doing roughly what I want, and it's not too often going over 6. Now we'll go to this one. I'm going to click and drag this region, and then same thing, effects. I'm not going to use this volume because it's too basic. I'll go express effects graphic equalizer. That's my recommended best setting for volume. You can change the volume levels on many different bits and pieces, but this is my favorite. Now again, while it's on its loop, I'm going to drag my volume up and down.
I'm amazed.
So to get it to hover roughly around 6, I've gone to 8.4 plus. That's about it. You get the idea. That's it for volume control. Okay, next one, number 7. We're getting there. I've already made my video a bit too long, I think. And that is keep saving and don't lose your project. Keep saving everything you do as you go along so you don't have to waste another 45 minutes doing it again. So to save, that is a quick save. First time we don't want to do that because we want to know what we're going to call it and we want to know where we're going to put it. So I'll go File, Save As, and then I'll go, for a beginner maybe you want to go Desktop, and I will say Demo, Save 01. And I go Save. So now I'll drop this and have a quick look. So now if I come back to my folder, Four-Wheel Drive Fun, and go Arrange by Sort by Type, there it is. It's at the top. And if I click on that after I've closed my computer down or I've closed my video editing program down, I double click on that and it will bring up where I was and what I had done. Another tip with that is don't do what I did for the first good year, 1 or 2 years. I made the stupid mistake of only saving once in a blue moon, and Vegas Pro is notorious for having failures and freezing and saying you need to shut the program down. Okay, so I've done a save. I went Save As and I placed it somewhere. Now I can do quick saves. So now as I go along and I do little things, make sure you have the habit of pretty much every single time you do something, just go quick save, go click, yep, quick save. So example, I want to watch this video. It's got a boring intro.
You guys want to stop and get
All right, I just want 4 seconds of the car driving past. So I select them both, Control, trim the start. I just want 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3. All right, just got a bit more than 3. Then I'll go right click, trim the end. And then I will say, let's do individual files and bring this one over, zoom in, line it up. And I'll individually drag that one. So now we'll have a quick look. So now they're in the car on the highway. They're coming to a town. Now they're back in the car. I've done a little bit, so now I'll just go again, quick save. As you do your project, keep doing lots of quick saves so that if you have an error pop up on the screen, you can close your program and then just right click on your Vegas Pro tab and it will have your saves. Take 1, take 2, take 3. My one was demo save 1, so I'll click on that and now it's going to open up Vegas Pro again where I last was working. Have 2 copies of everything. When you start doing your video editing projects and you're a beginner, you're very likely to make mistakes. So we'll just say that this is all your files, bits and pieces that you're going to work on. Go copy and paste it somewhere else on your computer. So you got 2 things you need to mess up to lose all your files and not just 1. I reckon every beginner is going to delete stuff by accident. So the best thing I would recommend is copy all your files and paste them to an external hard drive. And then if you make a mistake and you delete your files on your computer by accident, you can pull out the external hard drive that wasn't connected and it's definitely still there. And if you delete one by accident, like on your computer, you get your external hard drive and you drag it back, copy and paste it back to your computer, so you're back to having 2 files.
Number 8. Preview screen. Okay, how to set up your preview screen. So over here you can see my setups I've chosen for my preview screen, and that is the resolution and the frame rate. 1080p resolution, 30 frames per second. Now, as I said a little bit earlier, it's awesome and incredibly needed and useful and much quicker to have a preview monitor. So if you have 2 monitors, all you do is plug your second monitor into your computer, and then you'll click on this one here, and your second preview monitor, this bit here, will pop up. Just this, not the little buttons and everything, just the video will pop up on your second monitor. I do that when I'm doing my editing, and that way I can see much more clearly than just here. And when you have a second monitor and the preview is over there, you can make this one here, this preview, small, and you can have all your many bits and pieces, like your 10 or a dozen columns of different forms of editing over here. And you don't need to see this one because you have a preview screen. So back to the topic, and that's making sure that your preview is smooth. The biggest problem I ever had when I was doing my video editing, until I went to a desktop computer and I was using laptops, was my laptop struggled and they just couldn't show me any smooth form of playback whilst doing my editing, which is very important. So when I would click on something here, it would just constantly freeze up and jitter, and I couldn't get the feeling for what I was trying to make. So it made my video editing taking forever, waiting for a smooth playback, which never happened. And I couldn't feel my piece I was editing enough to edit it properly. Okay, so here is the preview again. Now to change those settings, you go to preview here, and on preview, if you're having struggles with your computer, you can click on auto and your computer can give you the best suggestion, or you can go full quality or half quality. If I click on half quality, now you can see the preview resolution has lowered itself, but it's still at 30 frames per second. Half quality. And if I go to quarter quality, of course you get the drift. It says 480 by 270. Okay, so that's it. You get the drift. If you've got a terrible device, bring your preview quality down to 1/4 so that you can have more smooth playback rates and it's easier to do your editing. If you've got a great device, put it on full quality. And if you don't have a clue how to hold the head on your shoulders, put it on auto.
Number 9, how to render and make your product. So now we're going to make our video. We're just going to pretend that this is my editing that I've been fiddling around with for the last couple of hours or half hour, whatever. I'm going to click and drag here like this blue column, whatever I want to include in my video. Now there's a gap there, but I'm not going to bother. We'll just say that this is the chosen bits and pieces I want to present. I will zoom in here. So my blue column only comes up to there. So that means everything over here will not be included in my final product. So again, click and drag whatever you want to include in your final product. Well, first I'll check my settings and make sure I haven't changed them as I've been fiddling. So it's still on best 1080p 30 frames per second settings. The important resample has been disabled. My rendering quality is on best. Make sure that you haven't lost that somehow, or that you haven't changed your frame rate by accident. And I'm going, okay, that's fine. So now I'm going to go render. And in the beginning, you will have a mountain of different options to choose how you make your video. An incredible different amount of ways to make your video. All the videos that you make will come out looking exactly the same, but they'll be different formats and they'll be different file sizes. If you go to Sony AVC, this is a quicker one that's very common. It says Internet 1920 blah 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 30p. That is a very good one to use. But I am here, Magic AVC, and I think I initially selected that one. And then I just customized it a little bit and I saved it as best, and then I put a star into it. And then next time it will automatically be suggested to you. And then you just choose where you want to save it so you don't lose it. A lot of people that don't know much about computers will just say, I don't want to fiddle with stuff. And they'll just click on this because they can tell that is the next option, which is render, make a video, but then they won't know where it is and you can't find it. So click on browse once you've picked what mode you're going to use to make your video. And I would recommend just go desktop and call it whatever you want, my first video. And you will click on save and you will click on render. So let's see how long it takes. So now here it's going to tell you roughly how much time your video is going to take. Now, when I had an old, terrible computer in the past, say my average video went for 20 minutes,
it would take 6 times longer than that to render. 2 hours, that's hideous. And I'd just have to leave my computer running for half the day. But now that I finally pimped up my own computer, this is the love of my life. This thing is so much quicker. And before time runs out, I'll tell you one last thing. It shows you, of course, how much time has gone past, 1 minute 20, and how much time is remaining, roughly 21 seconds. Now, I'm not sure if you heard that, but when it finished rendering, it did its little da-da whistle noise, and that means our video is ready to watch. Awesome, tip number 10, I'm nearly done. Okay, so tip number 10, don't ramble, talk too much, and waste too much time. If it's your first project, just go in there, just do the basics. So just go through and just be quick and just say, okay, well, that guy putting his arm up there, I don't want that, so I'll wait for him to put it down. There we go, he's looking at the thing he's gonna take on. So really quickly, trim start, right click, trim start, play again. Oh, he's going to take on the hill. There's a couple of seconds preview. So then I'll pause and I'll go split. And now I'll wait for him to start going up the hill. Here it is. Right click, trim start. Let it drag itself over automatically. Don't worry about perfect blending or anything. Show him going up the hill for a few seconds. He's going up the hill. Okay, that's enough. Pause. Split. And now I'll just show the outcome. There you go. Oh, and then people reappear. So now I'll just go back individual frame by frame, holding it. There we go, right click, trim start, and they're there. Split, and now I'll just show the final scene of them up close, talking to at the window. Show the window going down a little bit to create interest for people. So they'll see the window coming down, and then I will split, have it all the way down, focused on the guy's face. He put his hand down, right click, trim start, and now a few seconds of talking to him. Wow, that was great, I had great fun. And then I just split, trim end, drag it away. So now this is the final outcome of my quick example of going up the hill. With quick A to B cut, trim start, trim end. Oh, let's take on this hill. Wow, this looks awesome. Oh no, we're going up the hill. Yay, we made it. What did you guys think? Oh, it was great. Oh, let's do the next one. If it's your first project, just do it real quick. A to B, trim off this, trim off that. Don't worry about perfection because you will have no natural understanding, feeling, or experience on how to edit it all. You'll have to be crap when you start. I've been doing this stuff for 10 years and I bet some of you will still say I'm crap. Well, that's it. There's my top 10 tips that I think I learned as a beginner over the last number of years. The things that I wish someone else could have told me about to save a lot of time. Hopefully I saved you guys a lot of time. Hopefully there's some thankful people out there. If anyone found my tutorial video helpful and it helped you with anything in particular, I'm very interested. Please post a comment and let me know. If anyone else has any more questions, again, post a comment, let me know. And if I get enough subscribers, maybe I'll start making a video just for you. Well, that's it. Hope to see you guys next time. Don't forget to click on one of my links and check out one of my next videos. Bye.
Action time, the greatest hero of them all.
Make sure you hang around, guys, and click on one of my next videos. On the left, I have one of my random wild outdoor adventures. And on my right, I have my next recommended video editing tips to check out and start learning with Vegas Pro. Bye. See you next time.